Okay, we're back, and we're looking at the next section. The next section is here. Whoop. Sorry, camera handling not very good. So the next section is here. You know, like we're talking here about subnationalism, right? And don't get all nervous, especially state-minded people. You know, don't get all weirded out. Subnationalism is not nationalism actually at all. It's below the national level. Like some people might say it's above the national level, but really, you know, it's communities. It's not regions, it's not provinces or states. It's communities, and communities are defined by the people themselves, right? They don't have necessarily a border. They can merge in with the next community, and there's shared interests of communities. But community is basically where you get everything from. So, so we're talking about subnationalism here. If you worry about the collapse of the state, be totally scared about the collapse of the community. Because, you know, we don't need a state. States are created by human politics, human wars, human greed. States are created by fear, right? States, you know, borders, walls, keep out the other guy. You know, that's created by fear. So but don't be scared of the state, but really be totally terrified about the collapse of community, because you need community. You cannot live without community. So community is the first thing, right? You have to. So the state here, the state is based on peaceful community. Peaceful communities exist independent of state, right? I'm not proposing independence. I'm saying the community peacefulness is independent from the state. Everything starts from the community. The peacefulness of the community is what creates a peaceful state, but not a peaceful state creates a peaceful community. You can have a relatively peaceful state, and you can have communities that are not at peace. So the first order is the community, and that's you. That's your involvement and contribution to community, not separation, not separating and wearing masks and being isolated. And no, that's a tool of the state. That's a tool of the state to control you in a community and to separate you and to get you not solving your own problems in your own community. Water, food, you know, housing, education, and these things. That's a community issue. That's a community thing. That's your children. That's your stomach. That's your, you know, shelter from the rain. You have to deal with that. But not alone. You deal with it as a community. The community helps you shelter. The community helps you eat. The community helps you educate your children, right? Ultimately, it is ISR, which I think we'll get to in a moment, individual social responsibility. But, you know, that's at a community level, right? Not individual social responsibility to the state. That's war. That's conscription. That's battles. That's death, right? Fear and death. We got to stop with that, and we got to start to deal with our own thing. So I've got an arrow going down here. Freedom is my nationality, and now you may have heard that expression in ConscienceLAND before. Freedom is my nationality. Does it mean I'm free to do everything I want? Nope. No. Freedom is my nationality. Individual social responsibility is my superpower. How do you like that? I think younger people will like that. You know, there's so much Marvel Universe kind of thinking, you know, that everybody's got a superpower and so on. Well, we do have superpowers. The superpower you have is to be empathetic, contributive, and generous. That's the superpower you have for your community, for the people around you. And that's what we're saying here. Freedom is my nationality. Individual social responsibility is my superpower. So I can be super duper in my community, you know, by helping others, basically, by making the world better by my contribution to making the world better. And of course, what happens is you get served as well, because when you play out your superpower, you are a V to S. of value to society. Important, because that's love, that's care, that's, respect. That's people want you around because you're a contributor to their health, happiness, and sustainability. Right. So yeah, I just made notes here about in our historical record here, like you've got the French Revolution, which was, super duper a disagreement, I'm sorry, amongst the communities, right? They chopped they chopped the king's head off, but then, they all fought amongst each other and how to rule, how to organize it, the state. And so that was a reign of terror, right? After the French Revolution, they were totally disorganized. The communities weren't communities. They were all competing communities. So they were trying to overpower other communities to do it that community's way. And that won't work. In a big global sense, that won't work. So, and then of course you got Republican Spain, and I marked Bethune because I played the character of Bethune on CCTV 9 in China. And that was, very educative to me because Bethune also went to Republican Spain, or went to Spain during the Spanish Civil War to help what were they called? The Loyalists? No, they weren't the Loyalists. Anyway, to help the people who were fighting fascism in Republican Spain, to help the people who were fighting fascism, not to fight. He wasn't shooting guns. He was healing people. He was repairing dead, injured bodies, and transporting them around and giving them blood transfusions and operating on them at the front. So, amazing person, amazing character. I was privileged to have a chance to really study that and play that character on television. So that's Bethune. You see, this is the superpower of individual social responsibility. These people, we find ourselves in situations in the world where we are acting irrationally. We're not acting with a mind of the community. We're acting on selfish principles, greed for ourselves. We're hoarding all the food for ourselves, doing all this for ourselves, but failing to recall that we live in a community. It's not just our family. Our family lives in a community too. You need families of families of families of families to have the skills necessary to live a life, right? To put up a barn or build a bridge, you need not just one group, one person. You need not just a small group. You need families of people who have the knowledge, who have the skill, who have the materials, who have the access to information on how to do it, right? So you need family, you need community, and you must contribute something to that. So policies, yeah, you see, I'm writing down all kinds of notes here. Exclusive and extractive versus inclusive and distributive, right? So we talk about ConscienceLAND is a distributive and inclusive. Everybody is welcome in ConscienceLAND. It doesn't matter where you come from on the planet. It doesn't matter what your skin color is. It doesn't matter what language you speak. It doesn't matter what religion you follow or not. It just matters that you are including others and you're distributing your capacity to make the world a better place with others. That's all. And it's even your own meditative state, or maybe you're a music person, or you're entertaining people with dance. Anything you do is valid and useful and great and contributing to the well-being of humanity. So what I point here, policies, exclusive and extractive, are these walled gardens. This is the world, this is the capitalist world we live in now. And when I say capitalist, remember I just talked about crypto capitalism, right? So capitalism itself is not wrong or bad. It's how it's applied, right? If it's mom and pop stores to provide service in the community, that's great. That's what we need. That's how we survive. If it's controlling, your ability to get into business, if it's controlling your life and poisoning you involuntarily, then no, it's not. We don't like that kind of capitalism, or this surveillance capitalism, that we're all subject to. That is also detrimental because it makes you always looking over your shoulder. It's not that you do bad things, but you do properly, like normal things, and then you're afraid that some law is going to come into effect, like has happened in Canada, where undo, like they say, if you ever have uttered a discriminatory word or something ever, you can be charged now. Like, that's pretty crazy. Retroactively, you got to tell people what the rules are before you can enforce them, right? That's not fair. Anyway, so back to this. So I put walled garden, like Apple computers, fantastic, beautiful machines. I use them myself. It's a great system, and so on. They're exclusive and extractive. That's part of the exclusive extractive group. Whereas we need inclusive and distributive, distribution of your specialness, and that's the open source. Right? We need more open sourcing, not open AI. That's not really open source. What they're finding out in AI world is that it's so prohibitively expensive, right? But this is an excuse. This is not like, this doesn't absolve them of the problem. But the fact is, it's very, very expensive to create these huge language models and to analyze them and to prepare them for being searched. And so they turned from OpenAI to, actually, I make money AI. I charge you money AI, and it's not open source at all. It's quite closed. So we need consensus builders, not polarizers, right? We need people who are building a consensus in a community, right? And maybe across communities, but you don't do that by force. You do that by influence of good behaviors. Like, you actually know how to do it, fantastic. Show, show others, but not polarizers. And that's where we see most politicians today. Most politicians in most countries, as far as I can tell. I mean, I don't understand all languages, so I'm not getting information from all countries, but the ones that I understand the languages of, or have some interpretation, which I'm guessing is reasonably accurate, they're confrontational. They're polarizing. They're always setting one group against the other. The British went into the Middle East and put straight lines between, along down the middle of tribal communities, and put people against each other. That's how they maintain control. That was the British system of domination, was just get them to fight among themselves, and you stand back with your guns and cannons, and if they come toward you, shoot them. But if they're killing themselves out, well, that's perfectly fine. That's in fact what they wanted to have happen. So, well, anyway, I'll turn it off soon because I'm running out of power. But selections, oh yeah, I put a note here. Selections like Camel Trophy, virtual Hunger Games of political realm, hackathons, and most viable product. What we should do in the coming years is turn politics into a kind of a demonstration. They've got to have competence. It's not their story. In fact, I wanted to show you this story here behind me, but anyway, I'll do that on the next one. This is we see that the politicians are making up stories. They're making up their background, so we don't know what their true story is, and they're just telling us what we think we want to hear, and we vote for them. Right? So what we need to move into a world of, yes, your information is recorded because it's been recorded anyway, but it's open. And the information that you do not want, that you want to own yourself and you don't want other people to use, that's in a wallet. It's in a cryptographically protected wallet, in which only you have the ways to get in, and you give permissions, right? You give permission for data, your health data, your sexuality, your political leanings, or whatever it is that you have been analyzed to be, and your gender and all that stuff. You make it permission that you give that to the hospital, or you give that to the government, or your tax information to the government, and so on. Those things you will be required to do, and you do that, but they don't get information else other than what they're asking for, right? And that's fine. And maybe in many cases they pay for that information. They pay for access to you. Why? Because it's your data. It's your data. It's not their data. It's yours. Data is the new gold, new oil. So data is very valuable, and your data is very valuable to you and to them, but they should pay you to get access to it and to aggregate it and so on. So anyway, that's it. Peace plus one. Join the fun here in Conscience Land. Be a member of the Conscience Verse and a citizen of Conscience Land, a sustainee, a coach, an ambassador, or a planetpreneur. You know, any of these. Excuse me, I have an itchy nose. Any of these things are great. You're welcome. It's for you, and it doesn't matter what language or culture or whatever you're from. We need to build a global community, very different. We're all different. We have different traditions, we have different religious beliefs, we have different skin colors, we have different languages, we've got different, these are beautiful things. All this is great. That's why we have imagination and diversity and great ability to create, because we know not everybody's the same, right? So that's fantastic. But we need to have the same objective in the world, and that is to leave it better than we found it, right? So we eliminate the violence, we eliminate the fear, and we leave it better than we found it. Thanks, everybody. Have a great day. Peace plus one. Join the fun.